did was that we just worked on if-else statements, right? That was just what we did. Then we also worked on ternary operators. So we worked on if-else, then we worked on ternary operators. So when we talk about if-else, right, we're talking about getting conditions, getting multiple conditions with your if statement. So if you say if this thing happens, then there should be a result. So it's just like action and consequences or action and results, right? That is basically what your if statements are saying. So I'm going to give like just one more example or probably two more examples on if else statements, and then we'll move on to switch statements, right? So let me clear this. So for instance, let's say you just want to like I think we've done this example before, but let's try something much more different. So we can say if let's a equals to 10, and we can also say let b equals to 50, right? Yeah. Then we can now try and compare a and b. You can now say if a is greater than what b, right? What do we want? We want to have console.log a is greater than b, right? Now we can also have else if a, or let's say b is greater than a. What do you want to have? You want to have console.log b is greater than a. So now this is just a way whereby you can use control flow statements. Now in this particular block code, what I'm going to get now is what the first condition, sorry, the second condition. And why are you getting the second condition? Because actually b is greater than a. So the block that gets printed out, so this particular code, that's the block that's going to get executed. So if you have multiple blocks, it's going to loop through each of them and see which one is correct. So if I have another one that says, okay, else if, now if I want to compare if both of them are equal to each other, what will I use? Good. If b equals a, then what do we want? I want to say console.log b is equals b and a have the same value. Now, what is going to get printed out here? We all know it, and it's going to be what? The second one. But now let us go live and let us check it out to see if what we've been doing is actually the right thing. So now if we inspect, so as you can see, b is greater than what? Than a. But now let me now say, let us try and make this 50. Now, making this 50, we've seen that what b and a actually have the same value. Now, if you go ahead and check it out now, b and a have the same value. Now, that is basically what control flow statements are saying, right? It's just basically saying, oh, we are going to give conditions, and depending on which condition is true, that particular block of code is going to get executed. Now, this is basically what what's the name? Control flows if statements are saying. Now, the next one I'll be talking about now is going to be our switch statements. And I told us to like go ahead and this thing I started again. I told us to go ahead and check it out. How many of us read on switch statements? More of us try to read on it. Okay, Mr. Kelvin, did you try reading on it? Mr. David. All right. So let us move on. So we have switch statements. Now, when we talk about switch statements is actually similar to if and else statements. But the only difference is that switch statements are now used in handling bigger tasks, right? When I say bigger tasks, not necessarily bigger, but more tasks, more conditional statements, or more conditional values. So what am I saying? So songs volume, right? So now what am I saying here? When we say switch statement, for instance, if you want to have multiple values now, right? You want to have a lot of let's have a very quick example. Let's say let d equals to prompt. Oh, let's say let d equals to, let's say Sunday, right? Let's say Sunday. Good. Now, no, let's use prompt. Let d equals to prompt. Enter your day. Right? Now, we now want to check whatever the user enters, right? So if the user enters a Sunday, if the user enters a Sunday, what do you want? We want to say, oh, you picked a Sunday. If the user enters a Monday, you picked a Monday. You understand? Up until like that. So we'll try something like that. So now, if they, right, equals now, there's a reason I'm saying equals. Okay, equals. Let's now say Sunday. What do you want? You want to say console.log. You pick, hey, that's shipping quotes. Sorry? You picked a Sunday. Do you understand? Now, what do you want? Console.log. You want what? You picked a Monday. Now, imagine doing this. Let this is Monday, right? Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Okay. So now this is if day equals, so now this one is not going to be Tuesday, right? Tuesday. Then I'm going to change this to Tuesday. And I think there is a problem here, which is this. Oh, let's do it again. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. This is wrong. Not giving me what I need. All right, you know what? Let me just Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I think that's it, Abby. Good. So now I have Monday, right? So let us put this to be Tuesday. Wednesday. Then this should be a Thursday. Then similarly, this is going to be Friday. And we're also going to have then Saturday. Thank you. All right, now, so what are we trying to do? Whatever the user inputs gives us, oh, this is what the user did. Now, what are we not going to do now? If I say, enter your day, if I say Monday, you pick the Monday, as you can see. Control R. If I say Tuesday, oh, sorry. If I say Tuesday, put the Tuesday. Now, if I just write something like this now, it's not showing anything. Now we can now default to an else, right? We can now say else, not else if, just else, console.log, this day doesn't exist. You understand? Now, why am I doing this? If we just write something now, it's definitely what this day doesn't exist. But one thing that you need to understand now is this is a very long, this is a very, very long what's the name? Conditional block, right? And it is looking very messy. It's not looking neat, the way it should look. Now, one thing I need to know is that there is an alternative to doing to writing longer conditions, which is what your switch statement. Now, when we talk about switch statements, we're talking about using this particular syntax to perform a very long what's the name? Conditional block. Now, for instance, let's say you want to do the same thing. Now, can I say let day equals to what? Prompt. Now, this is how your switch statement basically works. So I'm going to give us a much more. So let's talk about switch statements. Yeah. So if I start writing it now, this is basically how your switch statement works. It works. It's actually very similar to what's the name? Similar to your instrument, but it's actually different. Now look at it. It's saying that first of all, you're gonna have your expression, right? The expression that you want to have, right? Now I can now say switch. My expression is probably D, right? Now, and when I start giving case for each of those ones, okay, if the first case is what? Monday, then what? Execute this. If the second case is what? Tuesday, execute this. Now, this is basically, as you can see, the switch statement is evaluated once. The value of the expression is compared with the values of each case. Then if there is a match, the associated block of code is executed. If there is no match, no code is executed, and it only goes back to what? To the default. Now, let me go back and explain what I'm trying to say. So now, we have our let day equals to prompts, right? Now, all I have to do is define my what? My switch, right? And put my expression. Now, what is my expression? My expression is basically what? Day. So you put your day, and then inside of it is where all of these things goes into. So am I getting this correctly? Yes. So now, since I have my day here now, I'm not gonna have each case. Now, the first case is here Sunday. We have another case which is Monday, Tuesday. Now you're gonna do the same thing. Now, all you have to do is define a case rather than was defining a condition again. So if I define my case, first case here, right? And I'm saying that okay, in this particular case, what do I want to do? I'm saying no, no, so let's say case, right? In case day equals to what? Monday, right? So what do you want? I want to console.log you picked a Monday, right? Then I'm going to break. Now let us try that and let us see what we have. So I'm going to refresh. Let's refresh this place and let's see. Now, if I say Monday now, can you see that it's still working? You pick the Monday. But now it is much more easier and simpler to work with something like this. So as I've already defined my day here, right? I'm not going to take this particular case and just use it once. But then I was having to declare these things multiple times and then having a very, very messy line of code. Now I'm going to move to the next case. Now the next case here is what? This case right here will now be what's the name? Tuesday, right? So you do the same thing, Tuesday. So console.log you picked a Tuesday. So let me just go ahead. And there's a reason why I'm breaking. right? There's a reason I'm using break. Why am I using break? I'm using break because what if what you pressed was Tuesday, right? It is first of all going to evaluate that, oh, what you pressed is it Monday, right? But if you're not breaking, it's going to keep evaluating this Monday. This break here is to tell you that, oh, in case this is not correct, break it and move to the next one. Move to the next condition. Oh, this particular Tuesday, is it correct? If it is false, break and move to the next one. But if it is true, just stay here. Don't move. So now, if you're not saying that, if you now remove this break, what I'm basically trying to say is that what? Keep evaluating this thing till maybe miracle happens and then it changes to your correct condition, which is never going to happen. She's going to give you like an infinite loop, which we'll get to very soon. So what you have to do is that always use this break so that your code is going to break and move on to the next case or next condition. Now, the third condition is now Wednesday. So we're going to have the same thing. We're going to say case Wednesday, right? So we're going to have console.log you picked. So then also again, similarly, I'm going to break. So now, if I refresh and I see Wednesday, you pick the Wednesday. Now, what happens when I just press rubbish? Nothing. Now, that brings me to my default value. Now, in your switch statement also, you have something to call your default. So your default is not going to just going to say, oh, it's just like your else, right? That's how your default is. So you can now say you picked a wrong day. That's what your default is, right? Now, you don't necessarily have to break your default because, of course, it's your default in case everything just comes back to it. So now, if I say, if I press rubbish now, it's going to tell me pick the wrong day, as you can see. So, but if I say Monday, the Monday. But now, there is a problem now. If I refresh and I use, before I'm using capital Monday, right? Now, if I refresh and I say Monday with small letter, you pick the wrong day. Eh? So how do we solve this problem? I'm not going to solve it. Yes, it's actually your agent is also going to give you this problem. So think about it. When I'm using Monday like this, people they wonder why. So I want you to give me just think about it. I don't want to solve this. I want you to solve it because this is JavaScript. You have to think about it. So how exactly can we solve? Why is it giving us this? It told me that it's case sensitive. Capital M does not equal small m. In programming, it never happens. Capital M never equals small m. That's how it is. So, especially, okay, for instance, if you're typing your password, your capital M is as your small m, right? It's the same thing here. So now tell me, how exactly do we solve something like this? How do we solve it? Yes, inside the code, what do we have to do? Let me go back to my code so that everybody will see. What do we have to do here to solve it? The reason why I'm saying this is because we've done something that can actually solve it in our last class. So, what comes out? We've done something that can actually solve it in our last class. Do you understand? So, how exactly are we going to solve this? Mr. David, just think about it. That's how JavaScript is. Look at it. Think about it. It's very, very easy. Just think about it. Okay, we have a small m. Then how exactly is it possible to solve it? I'm not going to solve it. No, 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 no. I'm not going to solve this. If you did not get it now, assignment. So this is very, very easy. It's not too early, but this is very so that's why I want every one of us to try and solve it. So it's not hard. How exactly do we solve this problem? Anybody online? Can you stop recording so that we'll have more time to solve it? This is the only thing we do today. It's fine.